the gun down! Put the gun down!
She made some very, very bad decisions prior to shooting at the officer, but unfortunately, you just don't understand her state of mind.
A routine stop ended up a nightmare for a Nashville patrol officer, Josh Baker. He noticed a vehicle owned by a felon and pulled it over, but the car was being driven by someone else. No one was ready for what happened next. Body cam footage captured the moment of the altercation between the officer and passenger and told the story of how it escalated within moments. Let's take a look at what happened on that day. On a sunny day in March 2021, Officer Baker from the East Precinct was patrolling in the area of Brick Church Pike near the intersection of Ewing Drive. He spotted a black 2015 Chevrolet Camaro. Having worked at the precinct for some time, he knew that this car belonged to a criminal named Demon Buchanan. So, who was Demon Buchanan? Well, this man had 6 illegal substance warrants, charging 5 felonies and 1 misdemeanor for possession of multiple types of narcotics, including H-Rowan, T-Cane, methamphetamine, ecstasy, Xanax, and crack, T-Cane. And the charges were made only 1 month earlier. Officer Baker's dashcam showed that he tailed the car as it took a turn and kept following it. The black car entered a parking lot and picked a spot. As the car stopped, so did Officer Baker. The video then cuts to Officer Baker, asking her to bring her bag out of the car. The woman was bending down, rummaging through her bag that Officer Baker had asked to hand over, as if she was taking something out of it. Officer Baker forbade her to take anything out and asked her to just bring the bag out. She eventually turned and handed a black bag over to the officer.
Just bring your bag out here. Ma'am, stop going through it.
Officer Baker grabbed the bag, but asked her if she'd taken anything out of it, because that's what appeared. But she refused. He could clearly sense the tension and told her that the whole incident just wasn't going well and that he didn't have any ill intentions. He just wanted to do a routine procedure.
Come step right back here. What did you take out of it?
Nothing.
Okay. All right, listen. Just come back here. I think we're getting off on the wrong foot, okay?
The woman didn't look happy because, according to her, she hadn't done anything wrong and shouldn't have been stopped at all. Officer Baker explained that she was pulled over because of the car's owner, and he was a serious criminal. The woman sounded frustrated, as she claimed that the car's owner being a convicted felon had nothing to do with her. Officer Baker told her that he had initially suspected that the owner of the car might have been driving the vehicle, but now he was clear and wanted to focus on the other issues at hand.
Because I'm really confused on why I'm getting stopped.
He's got several warrants.
Okay, that has nothing to do with me.
You don't know who's in the car.
Nobody's in my car.
Well, now I know that. However, now I'm going to address the other problem.
The woman was upset because her purse had been confiscated. She asked if she could use the restroom, but that's generally not allowed. So Officer Baker asked her to stay back. He also let her know that she was being recorded so that she didn't do anything that could be used against her later on. But she said it was okay.
Hey, so you want my bag and all my belongings?
So just step right back here.
Can I use the restroom?
And let you know this is being audio and video recorded,
That's
just to let you know.
Okay.
Officer Baker probably sensed that the situation was getting more tense by the minute. He called his fellow officers to arrive at the scene because he believed that he might need more backup.
23, if you did have one more, that would be good.
An officer responded and said they were on their way. On the other hand, the woman was getting more antsy and was moving too much. Officer Baker kept asking her to stay by the car.
Can we step back here?
21 to 23, do you need me code 3?
Negative, just code 2. So it's just in here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, was there...
Well, I'm about 5 minutes from it.
He unzipped the woman's bag and started fishing items from it, asking her about individual items. None of them were harmful, and the woman gave an explanation for each of them without hesitation. She was on her phone and calling someone. The officer pulled out something that looked like marijuana.
Is this?
Yes. It's probably another bag of weed.
The person she was calling finally picked up. It was her mother on the phone. She asked her to come where she was being held and explained that it happened because the car belonged to her criminal boyfriend.
Hey, Mom, I need you to come to Alpha Trinity Lane right here where Seaco is, the Dollar General.
23 to
I
25.
just got pulled over because my name is on the car. And he wanted to know if he was going to call me, then he not even called me. But I do got weed.
Hey, are you available?
I'm right here at the Dollar General.
She also confirmed a specific legal term with Officer Baker. He checked on his fellow officers, and one of them said they were on their way.
Got what is this?
Typical.
I'm
Brick
from
Church
Brick Church.
and
Brick
Ewing.
Church.
Can I have you starting around? You're about 4 minutes away. Disregard, actually, disregard on that.
At this point, Officer Baker left the woman's bag unattended and went to his car. When he turned, the woman was taking her bag away. When he approached her again, she said she just wanted the lighter and pulled out her pack of cigarettes from the purse. But Officer Baker asked her to leave the bag alone because he wasn't done searching it. He even offered to get her lighter for her, but she went ahead and got it anyway. The woman claimed that Officer Baker was scaring her.
My lighter
Yeah, I'm not done with that though. Where's your lighter at?
in the car.
13, it says you're about 7 minutes away.
I'll get it for you in a
that.
second, okay?
So you drive
Oh,
Brick
right there
Church
in your-
and the Dollar General. Can I have you start around to 23?
You scaring me.
Thank you.
Officer Baker came back to the bag and searched it. He found a small pouch that seemed to hold illegal substances, and he knew that he would have to detain her. She was on her phone all the while and took drags of her smoke. He kept asking her to come stand near her, but she was moving around like the whole ordeal meant nothing to her.
Yeah, come on.
Officer Baker had had enough of her attitude. He approached her and asked her to surrender her phone to him because she was making another call, but she refused and asked him to not put handcuffs on her because she didn't break the law. But when the officer tried to calm her down, she ran around the car screaming.
Here, do me a favor, Trevor.
No, hold
Turn
on.
around.
Don't put me in handcuffs. I haven't done anything wrong.
Ma'am.
No, don't put me
You're about to get tased.
Officer Baker chased her and kept asking her to stop and get down to the ground. But the woman disregarded all his orders. He brought out his taser and threatened her with it.
Get down! Get down on the ground! Down on the ground!
The woman then jumped inside her car. As Officer Baker reached the door, she slammed it shut. But he managed to open it again. He tried pulling the woman out of the car, but she wasn't cooperating. He had no other choice but to tase her. After tussling with the woman for quite some time, Officer Baker finally managed to tase her. But the woman decided to give one last fight before being detained. She pulled out her gun. Officer Baker noticed it and backed off, asking the woman to put away her gun immediately and pulling out his own gun. But the woman fired at him, saying that she didn't do anything to break the law. The officer fired back in self-defense.
Step out. Ma'am! Put the gun down! Put the gun down!
The officer dropped to the ground and notified his peers about his situation.
23 shots fired! Shots fired!
10-4, 13, keep at that code 3.
The woman had her car door still hanging open. She didn't even bother to close it. She started the engine, tossed the gun at the parking lot, and backed away from the spot. Soon, her car was zooming away from the scene.
23, I'm hit.
The dashcam footage collected from Officer Baker's vehicle shows a different angle of the incident. He could be seen struggling to grab the woman's arm so that he could tase her. And then, he finally managed. But the woman pulled out her gun and fired at him. This is when Officer Baker fired back at her. The woman's bullets hit the top of her car door, and parts of it came off. The officer dropped to the ground immediately.
Step out. Ma'am! Put the gun down! Put the gun down! 23 shots fired! Shots fired!
10-4, 13, keep at that code 3.
However, he got up in a kneeling position after a few moments and watched as the woman took off. She then started the engine and drove away.
I'm hit.
Officer Baker wasn't expecting the attack, and it came as a shock to him. He didn't seem prepared or didn't try to fire back at her as she fled the scene. He was also severely injured, and it took him some time to regain his wits, which gave her the opportunity to run away. This is where the video ended. The police began investigating the incident immediately and identified the woman as Nika Nicole Holbert. She was Demon's girlfriend. After the incident, Officer Baker was rushed to the hospital where he received treatment. He was shot in his torso, but was saved because all the bullets hit his bulletproof vest. Reports said,
Officer Baker is in stable condition after undergoing surgery.
He was released from the hospital by the afternoon. But what happened to Holbert? What happened to the bullets the officer fired at her in self-defense? Well, they found their target well. In fact, after she tried to drive away from the parking lot, her car crashed 2 blocks away from the parking lot where the altercation took place.
The driver was hit, and the driver drove 2 blocks from here and then crashed in the culvert. And now that is a secondary crime scene in this horrific tragedy of events.
Initial investigation confirmed that she might have lost the strength to drive because of her wounds and ended up crashing to the side of the road.
A driver identified as 31-year-old Nika Holbert sped down the road, but obviously, as Don said, she had been shot in that exchange with Officer Baker. And so whatever led to her driving off the road, that's where she ended up.
Officers were notified of the crash immediately, and they provided her aid as they attempted to rescue her.
Officers, as we showed you all throughout the morning, were responding from all points of the compass, and that's where they rendered aid to her and then took her to Skyline.
Police used a tow truck to remove her car from the spot, and the bullet hole was clearly visible on the door.
This is a tow truck that arrived to take the black Chevy Camaro away from the scene. You can see on the driver's side, the window has been shattered and 1 bullet hole is on the driver's side door.
But they failed to save her life. Her wounds were fatal, and she passed away during surgery after succumbing to her injuries. Her autopsy reports showed that Holbert had 4 bullet wounds in her body. Further investigation revealed that Nika Holbert didn't really have a clean record. In fact, she had multiple charges against her. A few of the convictions date back to the 2010s. However, according to reports, none of the charges against her was for extensive violence.
She faced charges for drug and traffic violations as well as forgery, but to date, nothing violent was on the woman's police record.
Reporters tried contacting her attorneys to gather more details about these cases, but they didn't respond. Many experts analyzed the dashcam and body cam videos after they were released, trying to understand what prompted Holbert to fire at her when the officer wasn't harming her in any way. According to the analyst Ashley Upkins, the incident isn't merely about a white officer pulling over an African-American woman, and she claimed it certainly didn't stem from racism. However, she claimed that the woman was scared because there had been a record of white officers being unnecessarily harsh with the black community.
I don't think anyone can watch that video and not believe that she looked terrified and petrified.
She also acknowledged that Holbert disregarded the officer's warnings multiple times, which eventually made the situation more tense and escalated it unnecessarily.
He warned several times, don't enter the vehicle, stand at the back of the vehicle.
Even though the officer pulled out a taser, which is not fatal in any manner, Ashley believed that Holbert was in a panicked state and didn't think twice before acting.
It's an officer, he's now pointing a black object at her. Does she know it's a taser gun? Not sure.
Ashley, however, commended the officer for taking a calm approach first and trying to solve the issue at hand, rather than applying force or intimidation as seen in many other cases.
I do want to commend the officer for at least taking non-lethal force first, because we've seen so many times in the case of George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, I mean, the names are countless. Those are just some of the more recent, that he tried to at least attempt to use non-lethal force first.
After the incident, reporters spoke to a few locals who were around the crime scene. One of the women present there expressed her frustration and said that there was no way to ensure that you would be safe when you walked out of the door to go to work.
How did the officer know this morning when he put on his work uniform, because that's just a work uniform? What people don't understand is, first, he's a human being, okay? He's just going to work. Now, one person is dead and he's in the hospital fighting for his life. Now, what sense does that make?
She also addressed the young generation and asked them to drop the guns and solve matters without taking a violent approach.
I'm just pleading for the young people, please, just to stop. Stop with these guns. I mean, just please stop with the guns and think of other solutions.
A few other locals also expressed their concerns over gun violence, but mentioned that these incidents had become more commonplace. However, they said that they weren't expecting it to happen so close to them.
We always see stuff like this all the time, so it was just shocking this morning that this happened.
Just to see it live like that, just gunshots go plow, 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 plow.
It was shocking.
I'm talking about, it was something serious.
Even after the tragic ending, the officer should definitely be appreciated for being so gentle with Holbert and trying to solve it calmly rather than applying brute force. It's unfortunate that despite breaking no rules, Holbert lost her life just because she panicked at the wrong time. So, what did you think of this case? Do you think systematic racism is responsible for the tragic death of Nika Holbert? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching the video. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel.